You ever wake up, look out your window, and just question if you're still dreaming or if you accidentally signed up for some reality show without knowing it? That was me that Tuesday morning, standing there in pajama pants and Crocs, clutching my coffee like it was a life preserver, staring at a two-story Barbie pink shed with a damn flamingo-shaped weather vane right in the middle of my supposedly private riverfront land. Yeah, you heard me right. My land, a migraine of a building so pink it felt like it was yelling at me before I'd even had my first sip of caffeine. Now the sun was just starting to burn through the river mist, which on any normal day would be peaceful, like something from a travel ad. But that morning it just spotlighted this monument to HOA insanity that had popped up honest to God overnight. And on the front of this monstrosity, some joker had nailed up a sign in glitter script, reserved for HOA paddleboard storage, authorized use only. As if that wasn't enough to make you choke on your coffee, the thing had commercial-grade Wi-Fi. I counted 3 antennas like they were broadcasting pink-washed HOA propaganda to the whole county. I muttered to myself, she's finally lost her damn mind. And yeah, let me back up a sec. Give you the whole circus. Name's Jeff Darnell, and I used to be a marine biologist. After 20 years watching coral reefs die one slow degree at a time, I switched gears. Found this place in Cranberry Sculls right on the river, hoping for a little quiet and maybe a shot at peace that didn't involve fighting climate change in my sleep. This property was supposed to be my sanctuary, 3 acres of river, a mess of old cypress trees and a dock I rebuilt myself plank by plank over 6 months. Didn't realize peace was going to be in short supply the minute Tiffany Belrose moved in. HOA president, paddleboard queen, self-declared arbiter of taste, and owner of at least 17 kayaks, not to mention 0 personal boundaries. Tiffany. She color-coordinated her yoga mats to her water bottles and considered herself an influencer. Her words not mine, with about 300 Instagram followers, bless her heart. She moved in 2 years after I did and wasted no time running for HOA president, promising community beautification. What that really meant was make everybody else live by Tiffany's Pinterest board. The first time she pitched her idea to turn my riverbank into a community launch zone, she had a whole PowerPoint with sound effects like it was Shark Tank. I turned her down. Easy said, I like my privacy, the birds, the turtles, the peace and quiet. Second time, she came by with a petition. 3 signatures. One was her husband's, the other said Mickey Mouse. I still got the picture of her grinning at me like a politician purring. Well, we'll just see what the bylaws say. Spoiler, they didn't say squat about seizing private property. But that didn't slow her down. Next came the neighborly guilt trips. You're really going to let that prime shoreline go to waste? She handed me a tuna sandwich at the HOA picnic, unasked for, and a color-coded spreadsheet called Shared Used Dreams 2025. Pie charts about community happiness, no kidding. I kept saying no, but she kept coming with that fixed smile that never touched her eyes. Even her book club buddies started hinting, wouldn't river access be nice every time they saw me at the mailbox? And then mysterious construction noises. Hammering before 6 in the morning, trucks dropping off lumber, and a bunch of gig workers Tiffany probably bribed with Starbucks cards, and the promise of Instagram fame. At first, I figured she was just building another sanctuary on her own property. This is a woman who last year built a chakra alignment station that was really just 7 painted rocks. But the racket didn't stop, and my golden retriever captain started barking every morning at 5:45 sharp, like he was auditioning for a Watchdog commercial. Turns out, while I was away for a marine conservation conference, Tiffany and her gig squad went full HGTV on the boundary line. I got back to find that neon pink shed, half on her lot, half on mine, confirmed by GPS and the county plat map, not to mention Captain refusing to pee anywhere near it. This wasn't just pink, it was hostilely pink. Decorative shutters that opened onto nothing, a flamingo vane that squeaked in the breeze, Wi-Fi the whole 9 yards. Tiffany from up on the roof called out, "Just a community structure. Jeff, nothing personal. We voted on it at the last HOA meeting." Yeah, that meeting, the one I missed because I cracked a molar. 4 people showed up and the tiebreaker was surprise Tiffany herself. I walked inside, poured myself a scotch at 10 in the morning, don't judge me, and Googled, "Can I sue my HOA for building on my property?" What I found next was wild. What Tiffany didn't know, my brother-in-law is a real estate attorney and my cousin works in the county assessor's office. We turned Sunday dinner into a legal war council. That's when we found Florida's adverse erection clause. Sounds made up, right? I made my brother-in-law show me the statute. Basically, if someone builds an unpermitted structure across your property line, it legally becomes yours. And because Tiffany spent HOA funds without proper approval, the board was now on the hook for a $47,000 riverside shed, my new fishing hut, according to the receipts I later got in discovery. Next morning, I delivered an official claim letter to Tiffany, handed it to her mid-downward dog in her front yard. She shrieked so loud I heard it from my backyard, and that night she called an emergency HOA meeting, storming in with her purple blazer that had HOA president embroidered on it like some beauty queen sash. Her voice echoed down the street, "This is a land grab." Well, next day I had the shed painted matte black with marine paint, installed security cameras, and put up a big sign. The Karen Cage private property, no trespassing. Added a smaller one, former HOA property under new management. That's when the board turned on Tiffany like piranhas in a swimming hole. Neighbors were furious. Robert from 2 streets over stood up, red-faced, yelling, "You spent $47,000 of our money on a shed that now belongs to Jeff." My fees went up 12%. Sandra waved her bank statement and shouted about fiscal irresponsibility. Tiffany tried to claw it back with something she called a president's override motion on pink letterhead with a cartoon of herself citing Article Unicorn 7 from the Confederation of Happy Neighborhoods. I'm not making this up. The board just stared at her. The vice president actually asked if she needed a vacation. Meanwhile, my cousin rezoned the shed under my name. Since it had been there over 3 months, Tiffany owed me $3,427 in back taxes. When I handed her the bill, her face matched the old paint color. She even tried to pay me with an HOA check. I caught it on video. Her husband Bradley ran into me at Publix and just sighed, said he'd tried to warn her, but when Tiffany gets a vision of community improvement, nobody can talk her down. Oh, and she'd already spent $8,000 on a lawyer who turns out wasn't even licensed in Florida. The lawsuit was swift. Darnell versus Belrose and the HOA. My attorney, cool as ice, listed it all. Trespassing, unauthorized construction, misuse of HOA funds, building code violations, breach of fiduciary duty, and yes, emotional distress enhanced by the color scheme. We tacked on harassment after Tiffany left angry glitter pen notes on my car. Deposition day. Tiffany rolled in with a fresh out of law school lawyer named Curtis and argued with a straight face that I seduced her vision for the riverfront with my neglect and that the river wanted to be celebrated, not hoarded. My attorney had to leave the room. He was laughing so hard. Discovery turned up even more dirt. She'd been skimming HOA funds for years. Crystal's community aromatherapy, a $5,000 feng shui consult for the entrance kickbacks from contractors, all documented in texts she didn't realize were subpoenaable. The trial, honestly, it was worth the pain. Tiffany showed up with 3 huge binders labeled evidence, which turned out to be Pinterest boards, vision collages, and emails she never sent. One binder was just pictures of river docks from other neighborhoods with notes like, "This could be us." Asked about the shed permits, she claimed verbal permission from the universe seriously, and that the river spirits guided my hand. Even the judge, this old-timer who's seen it all, had to stop and ask her to clarify. She doubled down. "Your Honor, I performed a blessing ceremony with sage and everything." The bailiff nearly choked, trying not to laugh. We presented our case property surveys, HOA bank statements, testimony from 15 board members saying they never approved the project receipts for every bizarre purchase. And my favorite, a time-lapse video of Tiffany directing gig workers while I was out of town. Oh, and we proved environmental damage. Her construction destroyed a turtle nesting site and scared off the blue herons. EPA fined the HOA $20,000, which Tiffany tried to hide. The judge didn't hesitate, ruled in my favor, hit Tiffany with $87,000 in civil damages, ordered her to step down from the HOA board, banned her for life from managing funds or starting any new projects in Florida. But wait, she also got nailed for embezzlement and fraud. Facing up to 5 years in prison, 6-figure fines, and the IRS now sniffing around her kickbacks. When the judge read the verdict, Tiffany's jaw hit the floor. She tried to argue she was improving the community, but the judge just said, "Your vision does not supersede the law." When the bailiff moved in with the cuffs, she fainted dead away. Her lawyer just sidestepped and let her hit the carpet. And as she was being dragged out, she wailed that the flamingo weather vane was a symbol of freedom and the universe would clear her name. I just stood there on my dock, coffee in hand, looking at my new fishing hut, and wondered, how does one HOA president manage to turn a neighborhood into a punchline, a court case, and a lesson all at once? So let me ask you, where's the line between community improvement and just plain old entitlement? Have you ever had someone like Tiffany try to bulldoze your boundaries, literally or figuratively? Drop your story in the comments, because I know I'm not the only one who survived an HOA horror show. And hey, if you think justice was served or the law went too far, let's hear it. Because around here, it's not the river that keeps me up at night. It's folks who think a pink shed and a PowerPoint can beat common sense.